It came without warning, and it spreads like wildfire. But until today, its origins remain a mystery.
The 2019 novel coronavirus is very unusual because it seems to spread much easier between both of us, between individuals.
Since it was first discovered in Wuhan, the capital city of China's Hubei province, late last year, the virus has killed more than 1,200 people and infected at least 45,000 others worldwide.
For every single person who is affected, it seems as if there's going to be up to 3 or maybe 4 other persons who could also be affected.
大年初一那天，其实相对来说还是比较乱的，因为刚开始出来，大家比较恐慌，然后来的人非常多。
Wuhan and other surrounding cities have now been placed under a lockdown in a frantic effort to contain the spread of the virus. Some 60 million residents have also been effectively cut off from the outside world.
就一直哭，因为已经很担心，一定是疫情已经到一个非常严重的情况，才会出现说封城这么一个策略。
What exactly is the 2019 novel coronavirus? Can the spread of this highly infectious disease be contained? A climate of fear has descended on Wuhan, the capital city of China's Hubei province, home to 11 million people. Many are asking, will they be the next victim? If so, when? They also can't bear the thought of losing their loved ones as a mysterious but lethal virus wreaks havoc in the city. The coronavirus has killed more than 1,200 people in just 2 months. The disease has also infected thousands of people at a staggering speed and scale that's triggering fears of a new global pandemic.
2019 novel coronavirus is very unusual. We are familiar with SARS, and we managed to control SARS in about 6 to 9 months worldwide, which is actually quite amazing. And if you look at the numbers, we had 8,000, 10,000 people all in all, and this was over several months. But if you look at what's happening to 2019 novel coronavirus, we're seeing a whole lot of numbers coming up very rapidly over in just a month.
It all began deep in the winter month of December 2019. A quiet but deadly scenario was unraveling in Wuhan city, following a mysterious illness that had stricken a handful of people with symptoms of fever and cough.
Wuhan has started off with an atypical, very unusual viral infection. And for the clinicians talk, it will be called what an atypical viral or atypical pneumonia be. You will have a typical person coming with fever, headache, a bit of cough, muscle aches. It sounds very much like a flu-like illness. But you know something is not quite right because a chest x-ray becomes abnormal. Number 2, a lot of the test swabs for the influenzas will be negative or the other viruses are negative. Number 3, you see groups of people coming in with the same illness. And all of them had the same pattern.
Chinese health authorities identified the first patient who showed such symptoms on December 8th last year. The trickle rapidly sped up to infect scores of others. 2 of the earliest patients reportedly worked at the Huanan Seafood Wholesale Market in Wuhan. The tipping point arrived hard and fast when the once innocent symptoms claimed the life of the first victim. On January 9, 2020, the mysterious virus killed a 61-year-old man who was known to be a regular customer at the market.
And the initial investigations seems to show that a majority of the small number of cases that they had, a lot of them seemed to pinpoint to that part of the market which was actually dealing with the wildlife trade. And so with these kinds of information, it appears to be somehow hopping over from the wildlife, maybe interspecies, we don't know, because all these animals are kept together in cages and it's a nice milieu for them to hop over from one species to the other. And then from there, they can sort of, hop the species barrier and get onto humans.
China alerted the World Health Organization of a mysterious virus outbreak in Wuhan on December 31st. By the time the WHO declared the outbreak as a global emergency on January 29th, the virus has spread to all of China's 31 provinces and more than 25 countries across Asia, Europe, and North America.
When you hear a story, when you see this story, it spells deja vu. It really spells very much like the SARS which we had in 2003. And true enough, the cases became more and more, and then suddenly there was an explosion of cases.
The 2019 novel coronavirus outbreak is eerily similar to the 2002 SARS epidemic. Back then, SARS swept through the region, infecting some 8,000 people and killed 774. When it was first detected, Chinese health authorities denied it was the deadly SARS virus, the severe acute respiratory syndrome of 2002. Subsequent discoveries revealed the latest outbreak was caused by a coronavirus with 76% genetic similarity to the SARS coronavirus. The only difference is, compared to SARS, it is apparently less lethal but far more contagious.
For every single person who is affected, it seems as if there's going to be up to 3 or maybe 4 other persons who could also be affected. So if you take 6,000, maybe there's probably at least another 20 or 30,000 people that are out there. And these are very conservative estimates because the numbers are likely to be much more exponential than that.
The 2019 novel coronavirus is very unusual because it seems to spread much easier between both of us, between individuals. Simply coming close or talking, you may actually spread the infection. Not like SARS.
Early studies suggest that the incubation period of the virus, that is, from the time of exposure to the time when signs and symptoms begin to show, is about 5 to 7 days. It looks likely that patients or carriers of the virus can infect others when they are asymptomatic, meaning when they don't have signs of being ill.
There was this asymptomatic infection and mild infections, and now we hear about the people who can be infectious even during the incubation period.
The scenario seems different in the case of SARS, which appears to have lower infection rates. Infectious diseases specialist Dr. Leong Ho Nam is very familiar with the deadly virus. He was, after all, a former SARS patient himself. He contracted the virus back in 2003 while tending to a female patient who flew into Singapore from Hong Kong.
Infection of patients with SARS happen best in the second half of the illness, after the first 7 days. In other words, if I fall sick and I can confine myself in the first 7 days, I can effectively prevent the spread of the virus to the next person. But 2019 novel coronavirus is different. You can actually find the virus in people who have no symptoms, and it's postulated by the Minister of Health in China himself that these asymptomatic individuals, these individuals with no symptoms, can spread person to person. And we don't even need to wait till the 7 days before symptoms onset. Disease may spread even before the onset of illness. This allows the virus to propagate very quickly across large swaths of area, many people, and hence we are seeing these numbers of unprecedented spread of infections.
Coronaviruses are common in many species of animals, such as camels, cattle, civet cats, and bats. On occasion,